Good morning. It is I, Voice of the Forge, and welcome to the latest edition of Shooting Straight, where I, without preamble or script, will talk about something which has either been in the news or has got me thinking. Now, tonight, there have been a number of things on my feed to do with Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter and true racism. Now, in a previous life, professionally, I was involved in a public service which dealt with people at times of distress and high emotional drama. And unfortunately, I also worked in a place that had a lot of non-ethnic whites, non-white ethnic categories, whether they be Chinese, Asian, Japanese, black, blue, pink with polka dots or Martian, it didn't matter. They came into this location. And there's this narrative going through with this Black Lives Matter, which has been false from the start. It's already been proven that the hands up don't shoot narrative, which was pushed at the very start of this, was bogus, and that the most obvious problems are within black communities themselves, with gang violence and black on black violence. And the problem is, statistics don't lie, but they can be massaged. They can be used in ways which say something other than the truth. I went through what was known as racial diversity training, and I was hated, because I was that guy who challenged the preconceptions. You may hear in my voice that there's a snap, that there's a tone, that I am royally pissed off after tonight. Why? Because 10 years ago, longer in the UK, this is what we're talking about. We are talking about things that are a decade old, even older, where this narrative has been pushed and pushed and pushed in the UK and in the US. And whose fault is it that we have the situation that we have now? And I will tell you now, unequivocally, that I can prove that it's community leaders. It's community leaders who do not have the training, the knowledge, or the understanding of what the police job entails and what the law says. And what they do is they get into their heads some kind of notion that something isn't right, that the police don't have the power to do X, Y or Z, and they spread this like a poison throughout the community. All it takes is one youth leader over the course of 10 years to have 10 different kids come in every year, and you've told 100 black kids or 100 Chinese kids or 100 Indian kids or whatever that the police don't have the power to do something that they do, and you have an incident where they've been told by someone in authority that they recognise as an authority that the police can't do something. And what is it that we do when we feel that we've been wronged? All of us play up. Not many of us have the wit to say, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, and mentally file everything so they can get to a lawyer later and then have it checked out legally. No. What do these guys do? They're told that a police officer can't stop and search them, when in fact they can, under certain provisions. Misuse of Drugs Act is one. Stop and search powers under PACE is another. There's all kinds of reasons why they can be stopped. Stop and search has become a toxic term in the UK because it's used indiscriminately every time a police officer has contact with someone who isn't white. Well, I've got news for you, pals. Right? In the UK, a police officer can stop a car for whatever reason he likes. He can even stop you and say, I've pulled you over because I wanted to congratulate you on your safe and good considerate driving. It's enshrined in the Road Traffic Act. And no, it isn't a stop and search. It's a stop under the Road Traffic Act. End of story. If you happen to be committing a moving traffic offence, which many black Kids do. Why? Because they like to have their fog lights on even when it's not foggy, which is an offence because they can dazzle and blind other road users, as well as running out the battery life on the bulb life, so that when it is foggy they may not work. These are things that that happen on a regular basis, and they're told by someone who has no authority, no insight and no knowledge that the police can't do it. And it is these very same public leaders that say the same things in the US, they say the same things in the UK, and they are the fault of Black Lives Matter. It is their fault because they have poisoned young minds against an entity. They have poisoned the minds of those who have to come into contact with the police because they have been given wrong information. And these aren't people that are going to go away and research it. These aren't people that are going to go, oh, maybe that person wasn't right. No, they will turn around and say, well, I've been told this, and they will argue the toss. I know, I've been there, I've seen it firsthand. Another thing is cultural difference. We talk about gang violence. The US has far more gang violence than the UK. But I can tell you from the UK experience, you get a white gang of white boys, and how many is in that gang when they hang around? Maybe 5 or 6. When you get a black gang hanging around, you get 30 or 40. You get a phone call to say that in a particular time and place a group of youths has been seen with a knife. If they're white, you'll probably have 5 stop and searches, and one of them might have a knife. So you've got a result, you found what the information was that you've been given, and it's taken you 1 in 5, a 20% hit rate. Take the same example with the same gang and make it black, where there's 30 of them, and all of a sudden it looks far more racist because you've had to search 30 of them for the same one knife. That is a cultural difference, not a racist difference on the police. It's a matter of fact and the way in which different cultures aggregate socially. But the statistics will still say, well, 20% stop and search rate on whites, 3% on blacks. Because the statistics are twisted, they're misused, they're used in ways which it doesn't imply a causation or causality, but someone's own twisted mind puts that on there because they have an agenda. And it is this agenda from a generation before that is now feeding through into these political activists, where now we have a generation of people that have gone through the system being told by these people, 10 here, 10 there, 10 here, in hundreds and thousands of communities around the world. The police can't do this, they don't have a right to do that, they can't do this, they can't do the other. I've been there, I've seen these community leaders, and I've been that guy that has been universally hated because I don't give a shit. I have stood up and I have said, you are telling these kids wrong. This is the power, this is how we use it, this is when it's right and when it's wrong. And they don't believe you. They claim that you're talking out of your arse. They claim that you're misusing the power. And that is the real reason why it's not black on black violence that is looked at. It is looking at police violence. Because it's the only narrative that they can get to stick, because they twist the truth until it is begging for mercy. These people have an agenda. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear reality. They've constructed their own reality with their own rules, and unfortunately the white man doesn't get a say in what those rules are, yet they expect to be covered by the same laws. They expect to be given special treatment because of the colour of the skin. That's the real racism. It's the racism of low expectations, the racism of low ideas. The fact that, oh, you can't get anywhere because the white man keeps you down. No, you can't get anywhere because you're probably pig-ass stupid, and you've listened to people with an agenda who tell you can't get anywhere because of the colour of your skin. But when you look up and you actually take some time to look around you and find out what the fuck is going on, then you will find that you've been lied to. You've been lied to by people of your own culture, of your own race. Never mistake for maliciousness, what can be explained by incompetence. Who's more incompetent? The police officer who's had to have training, or your youth worker that's just doing things and, oh, I've got a social this or a social that? Who's more qualified? The lawyer who's telling you what your rights are, or the youth worker that is telling you what the police can and can't do? Who is more qualified? And this is something that, again, we run into a problem with. Because who is it that they turn to? They don't turn to a lawyer, they don't turn to a solicitor, they don't turn to those people who have actual knowledge of the rules and how they're supposed to be applied. No, they talk to the leaders in their own enclaves. And 9 times out of 10, these leaders are wearing their underpants on their heads when it comes to what they think they know. And it is these people that have led to a generation of people that think that they can do whatever they like. And because of the colour of their skin, everybody will automatically back them up. That the white guy, the police, must be the ones in the wrong. Because they can't do that. Well, I've got news for you, pal. Yes, they fucking well can. Don't like it? Tough. You want to question it? Get a law degree. You want to prove it wrong? Take legal classes. You want to make sure that your rights aren't violated? Then get a fucking education. Learn. But that's taking responsibility. That isn't fixing the problem of the racists. That's blaming the victim. Well, I'm sorry, but there is such a thing as contributory negligence when it comes to certain acts. When it comes to looking at who is at fault for what in civil cases, there is this thing called recklessness, where you have done something stupid and you have bought the consequences of your own actions. This is what needs to be done. People need to take a stand. And with the stand that they need to take is taking responsibility, taking ownership of their shit, looking around themselves and saying, that didn't work out so well, I'll do it differently next time, rather than it was Whitey's fault. Look around you and see who it is who's getting on. Those who turn round and say, I've worked hard, I've done this, that or the other, or those who expect it handed to them. Why is there such a problem with drugs and guns and knives and gang culture? Because it gives a certain amount of structure, a way of living, a way of being. In a way, it's a twisted form of family. Once you understand how family works, you can see how it works to ensnare those who have no family, and inculcates this morality of take what you can get, I'm all right, Jack, I've got mine. Get away, take out this rot, and you can start to rebuild a better society. But you can't do that when you have people actively working against what the rules are and producing more and more people who think they are right because someone told them that police couldn't do something. Until such time as there are more people who are properly trained in leadership roles, who actually have the knowledge and the understanding, then this will continue to happen. Because it's the only way this will happen, is through education, is through dissemination of knowledge. But no, that's too fucking difficult for some people. That doesn't fix the problem fast enough, or it makes them think, well, you're blaming the victim. Well, guess what? I've got news for you. It doesn't matter what you fucking think. You can think that you can wipe your arse on the constitution of whatever country you feel like. But in some countries it'll get you shot. Doesn't change the reality. Just because you think it doesn't make it so. Learn. Grow the fuck up. Take responsibility. There are times when I look at Satanism in the Laveyan church, the Church of Satan, LaVeyan Satanism. And the first thing they teach is do what you want, but be prepared to pay the price. Self-delusion and stupidity are two of their biggest sins. They don't believe in an actual devil. They believe that basically they are one's own God. That everything that should bring into a life should make it richer and more fulfilled. And look at the hype they get. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're the other. No, they're just people who understand the way the world works and own what they do. More and more, I have more praise for them than any number of civic leaders who just think they can stand on a soapbox, spout a few words that will go down well with the mob, whether or not the mob actually understands that what he's saying is pure bullcrap. Just there, designated to heal them, bring them to heel, make them an attack dog, to attack an ideology that they personally don't like. Grow the fuck up. Take responsibility. Learn. It's the only way it will happen. Because if you carry this on, we are going to be looking at civil war. Because we're sick and fed up. Sick and fed up of people turning around and saying, well, this is because of this and this is because of that. No, it's because you've got an agenda and you're pushing. It's the same with feminism, it's the same with all of them. There's a glass ceiling? No. It's more than likely it's just the fact that people can't be asked to pull the ladder down to go upstairs. Because you've actually got to put some fucking effort in to get there. It's easier to stay on the rung below because you can get there quite easily. You don't want to have to put in the long hours and the dedication to maybe go up a rung or two. That's a whole other discussion for a whole other programme. But I am sick to death of people protesting in the streets because they think that they know better than those who are actually educated in the way the world works. I'm done. Those of you who follow me for the shooting straight, you'll know that I have not done one for a while. This is the reason why. But tonight I can't hold that invective in any longer. I've got to get it out of my system. I'm done. I'm sick of it. So here it is. It's all based on ignorance. It's all based on a false agenda. And people are eating it up like pigs eat swill. Because that's about the level of intelligence most of them espouse. Because they don't want to know. They don't want to better themselves. They don't want to work. They want everything handed to them on a silver plate for no effort. That's why it's far easier to go out and steal and sell drugs than it is to get a job and progress in the workplace. I'm done. Thank you for listening.